Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us now start the session 4. Reconstruction from 80 years since the end of war from Japan to the world is going to be the title in which they are going to start the panel discussion. The speakers are Chairman of the Board, SMBC Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, Mr. Makoto Takashima. Representative Director, Well-Being for Planet Earth Foundation, Mr. Yoshiki ISHIKAWA. Executive Advisor, Sanfrecce Hiroshima Football Club, Mr. Shingo SENDA. And then CEO of Shibusawa and Company, Mr. Ken Shibusawa. Those are going to be the 4 panelists in this session. Mr. Shibusawa is going to take the lead as the moderator. Mr. Shibusawa, you have the floor, please. Thank you very much. This is going to be lastly our final session. Thank you very much for joining our session. We had started out with the capitalism, the world, AI, global south, and business, and with a little different note. We would like to now focus on the temporal section of 80 years. As some of the features of panelists are all from Hiroshima. Ishikawa-san, you're also born in Hiroshima. Yes, A-bombed family. So as a moderator, I was born in Kanagawa. I'm the only one, sorry. 80 years have passed. 80 years ago. Come to think of it, when you go to the Peace Park in the same location, what had happened 80 years ago. Very tragic scene will appear in front of you, but differently from that period, surrounded by the greeneries and the development of the town can be appreciated. So think about 80 years from now. 80 years from now, if you see that township, you have never thought that this can be created in the development. 80 years is a very long time. So 80 years. Before 1945, that's 1965. So there was a divide, the Civil War in the United States. And also there was the end of the feudal lord reign in Edo in Japan. And also there was a divide in 1945. And finally, as we have been discussing the divides. So 80 years is illustrated by the divides. But between the divides, there were prosperities. So when we look back or look forward 80 years from now, there may be another divide or division. Nobody would be surviving by that time. But our children, our grandchildren, grand-grandchildren, there may be the experiences of another prosperity. I'm not raised here in Hiroshima. I've been here so many times. But you might think you might misunderstand me. But whenever we discuss peace in Hiroshima, we always say we should never repeat the same thing here in Hiroshima. This is very important. Such risk should not be repeated. No good. But on the other hand, probably we need to think about the risk. The world peace and the business involvement, there has to be the good control over the risk. And the business can create the values, value creation, as was said before. In the declaration, ESG, NP, this was added as a new notion. ESG is divided. Some people said we don't need it, it's illegal. Because ESG, how this has developed is as followed. Financial assets of the companies can be recognized, but non-financial risk. What about this non-financial risk? We would like to know this, and it is necessary to control the risk, and because of that, there is the disclosure of data. And under the ESG, this was started. What had happened is there was a political risk and there was litigation risk. So now that we took care of one type of risk, there was the backlash of ESG, pushback of ESG. Now peace was added after ESG in Hiroshima. There is a commitment made by Hiroshima to the world, meaning in this coming 80 years, what's needed here is to control the risk is also important, but we have to make a change in the narratives. We need to create the values, and ESGP is necessary for that purpose. In comparison with the past 80 years, and when we think about 80 years forward, what is the value creation we had experiencing, and what is going to be the value creation in the future? That has to be discussed, although we didn't discuss this in the briefing session earlier. So, Mr. Takashima, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much. I am Takashima. I'm with Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation. Mr. Shibusawa started out by giving me a difficult challenge, but if I may introduce myself, in 1958, I was born in Hiroshima. I lived in Hiroshima up until my senior high school years, and I do have many memories. But looking back, the A-bomb experience and the reconstruction after the A-bomb bombing, this was a heavy history that I always felt as a child. In my elementary school days, peace education was quite active in Hiroshima. And in my senior high school, I attended a prefectural high school. And the Prefectural Minami High School in the pre-war years was a girls' high school. And so I was not such a diligent student during my senior high school years, but at the Minami High School, the many female students, of course, were not studying. They were trying to support the Japanese military by doing their work, but 277 female students unfortunately died, and 20 teachers also died. Since I was not such a good student in those days, I was not serious enough to think about that properly, but there was a day, Memorial Day, to mourn the students and teachers who died as a result of A-bomb, and it made me recognize how important an incident that had been. That being a starting point, in 1982, I joined the bank, Sumitomo Bank, and in 3 years' time, I had a chance to become trained in the United States. I lived in a total of 13 years in the United States. And when I was sent to the United States in 1985, I remember that when I was speaking with the American students, and where do you come from? And I say Hiroshima. And any American student or European student, Hiroshima rings a bell in everybody's mind. They knew the name, and of course, asked me questions about whether my family was hurt by the A bomb bombing, and what was the state of the Reconstruction, etc., etc. And they all respected the fact that Hiroshima reconstructed its city out of the ashes and devastation of the A bomb. So when I go abroad, Hiroshima has always remained close to me when I spoke about myself. And since I had uh, much business with overseas, but in 2017 I became president of the bank, and I have become more related to Hiroshima personally, and I have come to know the governor in that relationship. And wherever I go, there are many fine companies, but my impression is that the corporate manager and the Hiroshima business, in its deepest sense, has a strong root in Hiroshima, whether it's an automotive company or a power utilities company. Hiroshima always has a very important legacy of its history because of the A-bomb experience or the reconstruction after the war. There is always the historical backbone that I have always identified in the corporate management of the companies. And when I became chairman of the board, I have always tried to give the message as to what we need to do. Thank you.
高島さんとほぼ同年
So I'm in the same generation. I also spent many years in the United States, and up to about senior high school, when I talked about Hiroshima, it always gave the impression that we were a city bombed by atomic bombs. But that history was turned into respect. So Mr. Dr. Ishikawa, would you take over?
両
I am Ishikawa. Luckily, both of our grandparents survived. I'm the third generation. If you had the experiences like that, the way you lead the life will be completely changed. For grandma and grandpa, they contributed a lot to the community by spending a lot of fortune for the people living nearby. So how are we going to serve the community is the spirit. I was born and raised by our family. How am I going to provide the services? I selected the preventive medicine for that purpose. Disease prevention is one thing, but the protection has to be done on the well-being. In the organization called Well-Being for Planet Earth Foundation, I am acting as the representative director. I am providing the financial support for the well-being related researches. Gallup is the co-operator for this foundation. Every year, out of 140 countries throughout the world, we are measuring the level of well-being with 1,000 people. So every year, 140,000 are surveyed. We pay the visit and make the investigation. And the World Happiness Report has been prepared by United Nations. Our name of the organization is Well-Being for Planet Earth, not only the well-being of the humans, sustainability of the planet Earth is needed because that makes us to survive on the planet. And the Earth and the human beings' well-being is important. As I know, Takashi-san, the co-founder, says the globe and human beings and the other creatures, those are the things we need to protect the well-being. Thank you very much. Measurement of the well-being is very important. That it is equal to the measurement of the peace.
Mr. Senda, thank you very much for waiting. I am executive advisor of Sanfrecce Hiroshima Football Club. For 5 years up till then, I was president of the football club, and we have had in-depth discussion from morning session today. I would like to use this as a self-introduction. As you might recognize, on the north of the A-bomb dome in the Peace Memorial Park, the soccer stadium was built in the middle of the city, and this was the opening game match last year, and it was full. Governor Yuzaki and members of the prefecture have called on me today because perhaps I should be talking about soccer. Soccer, of course, restarted 2 years after the A-bomb, and the school had won the championship, which I would like to talk about later on in greater detail. But the reason why I was called upon to attend today is when we marked 70 years, 10 years ago, we had a Japanese manga titled Reconstruction of Hiroshima. Mr. Hiroshi Takahashi, who had been the ambassador to Afghanistan for 6.5 years. Of course, in Afghanistan, in the Taliban regime, it is not so possible to reconstruct the country so easily. But he wanted to bring the youngsters and young generation from Afghanistan to Hiroshima to have them actually experience the reconstruction after the devastation. And I was asked to come up with some sort of a textbook. And so we asked the Tezuka Production, which produced The Mighty Atom, the Japanese manga, to produce this reconstruction of Hiroshima Japanese manga. And this is a bestseller in the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. And the Arabic version was completed yesterday. So regarding reconstruction of Hiroshima, there was the personal endeavor of the in different individuals, and it ends with the Edion Peace Wing Hiroshima, the naming of the stadium. So I would like to talk about that in greater detail later on. Thank you very much.
はい。で、
I heard the applause now. As you can recognize from the members' faces, we've been discussing sports, and this is linked with the well-being. In order to be well-being, you need money. That is the reason that we have the banking representative. 80 years is a key word. Reflecting on the past 80 years, I want you to give your comments, starting from Takashima-san, please.
Thank you very much. From this perspective of industry and economy, I would like to look back on how construction took place over the past 80 years and how our bank played a role in those reconstruction effort. So at the time of 1945, August the 6th, we go back to the roots of Sumitomo Bank and then Mitsui Bank and ultimately the current bank. In those days, we had Mitsui Bank and Sumitomo Bank branches were set up in Hiroshima, and therefore the two banks were quite active in Hiroshima, and they also were damaged by the A-bomb, and 29 people were died at Sumitomo Bank, and also 22 people died with Mitsui Bank. This is a well-known picture that is displayed at the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum. This is titled Human Shadow Etched in Stone. And this is the stone steps at the entrance of the Hiroshima branch of Sumitomo Bank. So someone was sitting there, and when the A bomb was dropped, the stone was burned, but the shadow of the person who was probably sitting there remained, as shown here. And probably this person died. And at the Imperial Bank, or Teikoku Bank, close to the epicenter, 2 people died. The building was quite solid, and the stone building remained quite sturdy because it was built quite sturdy, and it became a symbol of the after-war years. And the industrial promotion building, or Teikoku Bank, which should be kept, was a debate which occurred. And the industrial promotion building was left as the asset representing the A bomb. And so the fact that banks continued its operation even after the dropping of the A bomb proves that the industry was quite resilient. And Teikoku Bank, Hiroshima branch, continued to operate. What surprised me was that on August 6th, when the A bomb was dropped, and 2 days after that, in August 8th, both banks started its operation. But of course, the branches were destroyed. But at that time, Bank of Japan Hiroshima branch, which still remains, was the strongest of the buildings among the banks. And so the branch staff came to Bank of Japan Hiroshima branch, paying out the deposits to the depositors. Many people lost their families, but bank staff came to the Bank of Japan Hiroshima branch to cater to the needs of the depositors, paying out their savings. So I think that was a pride of the essential workers working continuously, even under stress of devastation. So Hiroshima citizens showed their strength, and they were resilient. But at the time, of course, Hiroshima was a military capital as well, and there were military industries supporting the city. In the post-war years, military facilities were rebuilt to be reused as industrial facilities and factories. I think that also played a great role in developing the industries here in Hiroshima. So as you see here, Hiroshima in the Shikoku and Chugoku and Shikoku regions has a great strength in terms of manufacturing that I think is supported greatly by the citizens and industries of Hiroshima, making use of the military facilities to reuse them as industrial facilities in the post-war years. Thank you.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank you. My grandfather, Shibusawa Eiichi, who started out the banking business for the first time in Japan, if he heard that story, he would shed tears because towards the end of his life, he was quite active in doing for the peace. So 1 month after Manchuria event in 1931, he was quite responsible for contributing to the peace. Now, Senda-san, probably you have a lot of talk.
Thank you very much. Can you show the PowerPoint? Mr. Peterson mentioned that for peace and reconstruction, there needs to be enough capital. So, having listened to Mr. Takashima, I would just like to supplement with this Japanese manga. So, Bank of Japan, Hiroshima branch, the building was intact because Hiroshima wanted to remain as a Japanese capital, even though the eastern part of Japan may be occupied by Allied forces, and therefore the construction ended on August the 5th to build this building. And so out of 18 bank staff, 7 lost their lives. But as you can see here on the left-hand side, this is inside the bank safe. And these are water containers because they having experienced the city bombings in Osaka, they kept these water containers inside the safe so that even if there are bombings, the water would save the banknotes from being burnt. So Sumitomo, Yasuda, Teikoku, Mitsubishi, these are the names of the banks. And many people were burned. And many victims were heavily burned. They didn't have their bank seals to take out their deposits, but they all did a good job in repaying or paying out the savings to the depositors after confirming the identity one by one. And Daiichi Life also started payment of the insurance quickly after the A-bomb as well. And the bank general manager, the Daiichi Life branch manager actually was on a business trip and was out of Hiroshima, and therefore he didn't lose his life, but he lost his family. But still, he did his job in paying out the insurance. This is Mr. Agawa, the novelist. If I may just talk a little bit about our business. As for our football club, this is the sales of the different football clubs, and Hiroshima is fifth from the right. So among the J League clubs, we are in the lower half in position because but still, we have posted a large amount of sales, even though in scale we might be located in the lower half. I said that Hiroshima has reconstructed itself so successfully, and it was miraculous. But still, during the COVID pandemic, J League football clubs had a very difficult time surviving. But even then, we said to ourselves, the whole J League football club in 2020, the 100 billion yen market or 130 billion 100 billion yen market was reduced during the COVID pandemic to 100 billion yen. Now we rely very much on the advertisement budget, but when we calculated all the new sponsors, out of and for the 58 clubs, a total of 200 million yen was the advertisement budget that we could get. But Hiroshima had a very big chunk of that. So I think it was a miraculous reconstruction indeed. This is in the post-war years at the Edajima Naval Academy. They continue to play soccer, and 2 years after the A-bomb bombing, the football club of the senior high school won the championship. And the senior high school soccer activities became very active, and Hiroshima always remained strong. And as a result of that, the Toyo Kogyo soccer club has continued to win the Japan Soccer League, and also won the bronze medal at the Mexico City 1968 Olympic Games, and 7 players out of the national team were from Hiroshima. And of course, we can talk about the resilience and the quantum leap that led to the miraculous strength of the soccer players in Hiroshima.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. When it comes to soccer, you know the waves by the spectators. At the time of Mexico Olympic in 1968, that was the wave which was demonstrated the alignment of the mindsets of both allies and enemies. Shall we do the waves here? Probably this is not the right place to do that. I was told by Ishikawa-san about this. I was listening to two gentlemen's talks. So would you like to start the well-being presentation, please? I would like to now shed the lights on peace and well-being because they are interrelated. 1980. 80 years have been passed. Horizontally, you can find from 2006 to 2019. Now, the healthy life. Whenever we measure the healthy life, we are ranked either the first and the second because we have made a very tremendous reconstruction after the war. Now, what about the well-being? Subjectively, what is the view of the people on well-being? Together with Galaxia, we are plotting this. What is the level of satisfaction day to day? It was 27th in 2006, and it has downgraded to 61st ranking in 2019. What's not good about this is what is the future well-being in 5 years now? What is your life? It was 70 in 2006, but it is expected to go down to 122 in 2019. What those three graphs show after 80 years, this country, Japan, it became the country which can live longest. And life which is long is not satisfactory and no hope for the future. This is indeed the unfortunate result. It's not that the Japanese people tend to be pessimistic because 2006 to 2019, there was a dramatic decline. It's not that Japanese citizens are pessimistic, From the perspective of well-being, what is the other countries? Take an example of Ukraine. In the morning time, there were a lot of discussions. The gray line shows GDP, and the green one is the ratio of the people who think well-being is higher. As of 2006, 16% of the Ukrainians think their well-being is high. In comparison between gray and the green one, they are not correlated. GDP and well-being in 20th century until 21st century, there was the correlation between those two lines, but it has stopped to correlate in 21st century. So people started to seek for the reason other than GDP. In 2011, there was a deterioration of the well-being under the President Yanukovych, which is on the part of Soviet Union, the Russia, and he took the reign, and there was the 10%. So there was the internal insurrection to get rid of President Yanukovych. And in such confusion, there was the Crimea annexation. And the third round of the war was started. Well-being deterioration was started to begin with. This has nothing to do with the economic condition, and this has led to the social turmoils. So much so, such examples can be witnessed in many places. Take an example of UK. GDP is growing very rapidly. However, from 2017, well-being started to go down, and the voting in Brexit took place. Another example is Egypt, Arab Spring. Just like UK, GDP is growing. However, well-being has drastically gone down at the time of Arab Spring. There were numerous cases of such around the world. What this means is not only Japan, but also in many countries, this subjective measurement of living well-being. People started to think deterioration of well-being is not good. It is not correlated with GDP, but this is now considered to be the leading indicator of the social chaos. If there's a deterioration of the well-being, there will be the deterioration of GDP, thus social chaos. It is the same in the company. If the employees' well-being goes down, and that would be linked to the deterioration of the company businesses. S&P study shows, and SDGs are now incorporated in the company businesses. What about the result of the voting or the election? In the past 40 years in Europe, politicians say GDP, unemployment rate, and inflation rate. However, the views of the citizens on well-being is most important in order for the party to obtain the ballots. So well-being mindset is something which is very important as one of the indicators whether the people are considering their life is the well-being, just like a canary placed in the coal mine. Now, I see that makes sense. I believe this has full of contents. By way of the averaging, it is impossible to make the measurement of the well-being. Some of the people can contribute to GDP, and you'll be able to go up. But if there are some people who are left alone, well-being goes down. So the big difference between GDP and well-being's subject is different. GDP is the producer's indicators. What is the value added created by the producers? But well-being is the indicator of the people living thinking about their lives. When we think about the global peace, those are very important indicators. Towards the end of the discussion, we can come back to this, all of them, and the total value, and there is no reflection of the people who are left behind. Therefore, measurement of the well-being and the measurement of peace have to be done from the different perspectives. Thank you. So far, we have discussed the past 80 years. And what is shocking here is from 10, 20, or 30 years from now, Japan is expected to go down. Now, for our future, what are the society we would like to build up for the future, starting from Senda-san, please?
Thank you. Can we go back to the PowerPoint once again? I have skipped things. I'm sorry. I provided too many slides. If you could take a look at this anime, Mr. Shibus, I don't know whether this answers Mr. Shibusawa's question or not, but we want the children to understand the power of Hiroshima as it engaged in Reconstruction. So this is 7.5 minutes, has been reduced to 2 minutes or so. In Shudo Junior High School, while they were working on some school activities, many students died, and the boy called Shimomura, after the war, worked diligently in his soccer activities and became a leader in soccer. So it shows an anime. I'm sorry, there is no translation of this into English.
ピカから4年、日本中の誰もが広島は終わったと思うとる。優勝して全国のやつらに広島は死んじゃおらんいうのを見せるんじゃ。その夢をあいつらは背負ってくれとるんじゃ。わしら広島県民の夢を背負って全国に挑もうとしとるやつらを応援せんでどうするんだ。
そうですの。広島の復活を全国に示すために。先生、わかりました。わしら応援します。力の限り応援します。
行け修道高校、行け広島。
頑張れ広島。
This is the view of Hiroshima City. At the center, there is a beautiful white roof. This is the Edion Hiroshima Peace Wing Stadium. And Hiroshima Prefecture and the Hiroshima City, many parties donated to build the stadium. This is 2.5 hours prior to the opening of the game. And it is located close to these apartment buildings and the condominium. And it shows that there was a constraint in locating this stadium. And yet, the original place looked like this. Many people, homes and the shanties were burned by the fire. And this was a place where the current stadium was built. And so there were high-rise apartment buildings built to house these people who lost their homes, and we received many donations. But this is a Peace Memorial Park, and the A-bomb dome is located in the vicinity. And Kenzo Tange, the architect who won the competition to design this Peace Memorial Park, realized that there was a need to create the stadium, and he decided to resemble the stadium to his reflecting his respect towards Le Corbusier, and he and Hiroshima developed its soccer industry, also built the first women's professional football club. And this is a picture that I took with a Japanese female astronaut, Ms. Mukai. And sports. When West Germany was working on its reconstruction efforts in 1954, the West German soccer team won the World Cup. So I think soccer and sports has that power to encourage people. And we marked the sales in the order of 8 billion yen. We are fourth in ranking, close to third in the sales. But I wanted to take this opportunity to show you how much we have been doing.
Thank you very much. In the anime you have demonstrated for us, I think there was a strong message for our future. In other words, on your shoulder, the dreams are born, because we ourselves have to take the lead to keep this dream on our shoulders. It's not that we can depend on the other people. As I was listening to Professor Gabriel, ethical capitalism. Why ethics? Because there have to be we, and we are the ones who have to act upon. When we think about the future, finances and capitalism, we are able to using this to link with the future. Takashima-san, please.
Thank you very much. This is quite a difficult topic to address, as a matter of fact. I was trying to talk about some details, but perhaps I could talk on a similar note. This is a slide that I have prepared to discuss what sort of business Hiroshima should be focusing on in the future. And I think these are the key words. So it may be somewhat going a little bit in details, but in the post-war reconstruction, Hiroshima's achievement was seen in the so-called heavy industries. And there was a technology to support such industries. So when we look towards the future, I hope that such technologies and industries could be utilized to the fullest. And the first keyword that I mentioned here is sustainability. There needs to be technology supporting those industries, and green transformation, of course, the GX is the abbreviation for that we talk about more frequently. And I think we can do a lot in Hiroshima on that point. Mazda is working together with Hiroshima University to develop the biofuels, as an example. You might know about that. And Tube Electric is working on Coolgen in Osaki. So it is the IGCC project, adding biomass to that. So there is a vision and the technology to support the vision. and we would try to finance that as needed. And that direction, I think, is required in the future as well. And Hiroshima could lead such initiatives. Second is the wide area collaboration or regional collaboration. There is accumulation of industries in the Chugoku and Shikoku regions, and therefore Hiroshima could serve as a leader to work together with the global world to spur the collaboration further. As we head towards 2040, we are working under certain goals, and towards 2040, we make the point that wide area collaboration or regional collaboration should be promoted in order to make sure that under the low birth rate society, we can develop certain industries and also develop further, even with less population. And in this Setouchi area, I believe prefectures have different characteristics, but creating something new under wide area collaboration will become more important. Perhaps they will be looking towards Asia, towards the United States. But in any case, to tackle the challenges together on a wide area base should become important, and Hiroshima could play the leadership role in such a regional collaboration. Hiroshima City Center Conference has been formed to discuss mainly what sort of development can take place in the heart of Hiroshima City. 2 years ago, a certain recommendation came out of such activities, and Pan-Setouchi economic capital concept came up. And what is important is that the Hiroshima Prefecture, Hiroshima City, should play the role there in order to support such concepts, but the private sector should lead such initiatives. In Japan, Kyushu seems to be quite successful in taking similar steps, where the private sector develop various collaboration based on which the prefecture government and municipalities will come in as stakeholders to support such activities. TSMC is an example of what they're doing in Kyushu. So this is a link with the rest of the world. And I think it is also possible to see that sort of a development here in Hiroshima and in the Pan-Setouchi area as well. And we need a human capital in order to pursue such efforts. As you might know, Hiroshima Prefecture has set up H. Gakuen School, where all the courses are taught in English. There is a university affiliated to that. There is a global mind that is being promoted among the students. So if that could be spread on a wider area basis, I think it would be conducive in developing the regional collaboration, which could be linked globally. And I think that is something that could be taken as we mark the 80 years. So you talk about wide area and Setouchi. In the old days, when we discuss where was the center of Japan, there were some time periods when Setouchi was the center of Japan. So this event, as well as the Setouchi Arts Festival, this year we are seeing a lot of events taking place around this area. So not only for the regional collaboration purpose, but elevating that in a global presence. I think what you said is important.
Now, listening to Ishikawa's comments, declining well-being in the world, how are we going to deal with this? Deterioration of well-being leads to the country risk and the various risks. I think such consensus is emerging. With this, as our awareness, if we are going to look at the international society and industries pessimistically, what are the indicators and what are the values we have set in each ages with the world crisis and Great Depression? I believe with this as an indicator, there has been the international indicator GDP introduced. Of course, there are a lot of good things about it, but there is a negative things, human rights violation, and SDGs have been reached by 2030 to reach this satisfaction level. The basic concept of which is satisfy the needs of the people. Try not to keep the negative legacies. And there are 17 series, and there are more than 200 indicators and SDGs. We are focusing on not to keep the negative legacy for the future generation. Now, what comes after 2030? Whenever we discuss a global movement, 15 years, in 2030, there will be the goal of SDGs. The next 15 years come in 2045. It so happens that the peace-seeking United Nations was born 100 years ago. What was the development of the human beings by that time? It's something we need to reflect upon. SDGs is the goal. ESG is the process indicator. The process indicator is ESG. So P was added on ESG from Hiroshima. After this, after SDGs, what are going to be the future indicators? What are the values we would like to create? We need to take the positive step for Hiroshima. Much more than that, once again, in 2030, there will be G7 summit to be held. In the next round of SDGs, we need to launch the strong commitment from Japan. After SDGs, Sustainable Well-being Goals, SDWGs, are going to be the indicator, not only the nature, human beings, and all the globe. We need to aim at the sustainable globe. The global indicators in SDGs, there is this section of peace. With a lot of difficulties, finally, we came to include this peace in these indicators through the various debates and compromises. Finally, we were able to include peace in the global indicators. Toward 2030, although it is not a perfected form, we need to come up with the indicator, at least peace-related global KPI. What are the things we need to hang on to this, and what are the things we need to add? Hiroshima, Nagasaki, maybe Fukushima should be added from Japan to the world. We need to disseminate our ideas to the other countries. I believe our ESGP is going to be the starting point today. So much for my comment. Thank you very much. Thank you. In that sense, so we have been discussing every 80 years, but we need to set the new goal every 15 years. SDGs 17 probably you cannot end up at 17 if you're a golfer. There has to be the final goal, which is 18. So 17 shows peace. So that can be also replaced by partnership. The center of the ring, number 18, has to be peace. So in the last one word, with this buzzword, let's come back to the important narrative on peace. And because we would like to discuss the business and peace. Why business? You might think a business is making the profit, but businesses, why do they have to think about peace? Engagement. Why the companies have to engage themselves, take this subjective approach to create that peace in the companies. So this is going to be the last session, starting from Senda-san. Please give us a very good comment, please.
Well, thank you very much. Peace, of course, was said to be a period without wars. But Edion Peace Wing Stadium, we added the peace to the name with the hope that the people would understand that soccer gave the people in Hiroshima much courage to move ahead in the post-war years, in the Reconstruction era. Those boys who were active in those days as soccer boys all give us that sort of a comment about what they experienced. And ACL Elite is going to be where these soccer players will be playing in coming from this September. We want to make the point that WE League, the women's professional football league, will thrive further. We want to make our own input there as well. There are many, many things that we would be able to do in order to develop the soccer sport. If we are not able to win greater sales and turnover, we won't be able to make our inroads into Asia and to the rest of the world. Just like baseball or basketball, we want to become more like a European type of a soccer sport. From the standpoint of financial industry, what would you say? 5 years ago, I attended the business meeting organized in a similar way here in Hiroshima, and I had a chance to attend the meeting. The meeting, the idea was to create an environment in which we are able to pursue economic initiatives. And of course, we talked about SDGs and whatnot. Business risks are not taken when wars and conflicts are seen in the world. And therefore, the uncertainties, we thought, of course, in terms of a business, there is always a risk-taking. But when things are uncertain, not many businesses take risk. So there are a great deal of uncertainties in the world today, which is reducing actions and investment in the business world. So we want to see a world without those risks, which can become which is able to contribute to the well-being of a greater number of people. peace is not defined as a period without wars. There are wars abound in the cyber domain as well. To go a little further, there is the Russia-Ukraine war, of course, which leads to economic sanctions, and economic sanctions also use financial tool, finance as a way to sanction the countries, not sending troops, but using economy and the monetary means to sanction the countries. These are tools that are being used. Generally speaking, weaponization of finance and economy is much talked about. So the means are different, but there are wars occurring, even if they are not sometimes hot wars. So I would like to make the point that we have two perspectives. We are already in the state of combat. So how do we bring back peace? Tariff is now being weaponized, unfortunately, for political reasons, which is unfortunate. I think we are backing from peace, but the question is how to go back to a peaceful environment. We need to seriously think about how we do that. Thank you.
では石川さん、
Thank you. Ishikawa-san, you're not a businessman, but from the perspective of well-being, can you comment on business and peace? When it comes to business and peace, this is my personal experience. Preventive medicine researcher. When I was in my 20s, I was moving from one place to the other to have the health class in Ueda town in Nagano Prefecture. And there was the classes of preventive medicine, especially for the elderly people. I said not much salt content in your food, not you need to have the chat. And all the man sitting in the first row, he was angry and mad and looking at me after the class. I said, do you have any questions? And he raised his hand. You are so complacent. You said for the fitness and for the healthy salt intake and the connection, you are so complacent because you are living in the peaceful environment. Don't think about the importance of peace. Don't forget about it. I was very much ashamed. I was the third generation of A bombing. I have never forgotten, I thought, the importance of peace. But sometimes people tend to forget the very, very important thing. And something different is attracting your mind in the area of businesses. Because there's a peace, we are able to do the business. We should never forget about the importance of peace. Because of that, ESGP is very critical. With this, not only in Japan, but also in the different places in the world. So probably whenever we talk about the board meeting, you started out with the result of the performance. Don't ask that question first. You have to ask, what is our P today? It's not that starting from the financial accounting numbers. Please start the confirmation with the P. And because we are in peace, we are able to do things and businesses. That is how I felt strongly today. Thank you very much in the board meeting. Have you come across with the peace talk? I have never come across with such experiences myself. Thank you very much for your wonderful, powerful closing. And honestly, I had some concern. In economic center, there was the long-term economic and business forecast sent. Out of the total population, 20% will be the inbound inhabitants. And whether it is the survey by Keidanren, this has already reached 10% level. We say it is peace. It's not the peace only for Japanese, but also for the world. And what about the immigration policy, immigrants policy? We are not using this as a phrase necessary, but this is a reality. Unless we execute the immigration policy, we will continue to have a lot of people to live in Japan. What's important here is what are the things you always cherish in your mind? This is not the original buzzword of mine. My wife taught me so. So in the other countries, freedom, liberty, that's the buzzword for them. In Japan, in one word, how do you express yourself? What are the phrases you cherish? And how are you going to welcome the foreign overseas people? If you say some phrase, I was scolded by my wife. Probably the word phrase is wa. There is the harmony, and we try to cherish and respect harmony amongst the Japanese people. And if we can expand such scope of harmony in the circular manner, not only for us, but also for your grandchildren, we would be able to expand the scope of harmony. ESGP from Hiroshima people would ask what in the world the ESGP is. That's the harmony, wa. And from Hiroshima to the world, we hope we will be able to have the connection of wa or harmony. Not only the panelists, but also the audience here in this meeting. We hope we will take the initiative to create the peace by creating the wa harmony amongst us. I think it is exactly time for us to end our panel session. Thank you very much for your input. Thank you very much for having joined with us for a long time for a whole day today. Mr. Makoto Takashima, Mr. Yoshiki Ishikawa, Mr. Shingo Sanda, and Mr. Ken Shibusawa, thank you very much for joining.